we're looking at completing the 1040. So we've been building up to this point using Romeo and Juliet's information. Now we're going to put it all together on the 1040. This purpose of this form is to decide how much you've either overpaid or underpaid on your taxes, whether it's been withheld from your paychecks throughout the year or with your estimates that you've paid in if you're self-employed. If you pay too much, you get a refund. If you pay too little, you owe. Basically, we're figuring out, does that piggy bank equate to what your bill is? And so on this first part, they are married filing jointly. So if you'll go ahead and check that, we're going to fill in the first section, which is all their personal information.
Are we on this paper?
We are on the page that says 1040 at the top. Married filing jointly. And we're going to list Romeo's name first. So Romeo Montague. And then the joint return is Juliet Capulet. And fill in their social security number. Their home address is listed on their W-2. And that's in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Mercutio Street. You shouldn't have anything in the foreign area. And that should get you up to digital assets. So go ahead and fill in that information up to digital asset. Capulet. And their social security number is written on their W-2s.
Are we gonna write like their actual social security that says in the front?
Yes, it's the same as social security. It gives you all the way through. That one page,
We're just filing Juliet's right now, right?
we're just doing Romeo and Juliet's
In this one?
on the same one because they're married filing jointly. So if you look on this page here, it gives you both of theirs on the same page. As this is where I said if you have a binder where you can pull it apart, it'd be beneficial because you can take and have that page out as well as their address is 7878 Mercutio Street. It's on their W-2. And section E. And their social security number is up at the top. And box A on their W-2s.
Does Juliet have a middle name initial?
It's not listed, neither does he.
Okay.
So you should have it look like this at this point.
Oh.
Hey, first try.
Look, right
I did Romeo, or I did Juliet first, is that okay?
No, because Romeo's
Typically, I don't. In our current society, I'm sure there's not a problem with it.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
But based upon past histories of how things are done, you typically list them out first. Okay, so digital assets. We're going to check no on that box. because they have not during 2022 receive or sell or exchange or otherwise dispose of digital assets. In other words, they have not messed with cryptocurrency or NFTs this year.
I would have taken Romeo for a big Bitcoin kind of guy.
He probably would be, but he doesn't have enough capital yet.
That's true.
He's a gnome.
Dude, that's a
Dude.
recreation.
Yeah, dude, that's the only like Romeo and Juliet that I know.
Yeah, it's Nomeo. Nomeo.
Oh, it's Nomeo?
I think
Yeah, it's
so.
Nomeo and
I didn't
uh,
necessarily pay attention when we read.
I didn't either.
I can't remember if they did anything special with her name or not.
Greenwood.
Greenwood.
You said Greenwood.
I said Greenwood.
Okay. And so because they are both supporting each other, no one else is claiming them as a dependent. They support over 50% of their living expenses and are off on their own. So therefore they are dependent. They are independent of anybody else. So no one can claim them.
What about the spouse as a dependent?
Neither what it means is, are you dependent on someone else's taxes?
Oh, okay.
Not are you dependent on each other?
Okay.
So can someone else besides the two of you claim you?
Okay. So if people got married young and they were still like on their parents.
Like their parents are still paying for their college. That gets into a
Whole other thing.
you get a lawyer, you get an accountant at that point to make sure you do it the right way. There's a lot of times where I can walk you through the basics. There's a lot more in tax law than I'm going to go through, or I feel comfortable saying this is definitive, this is what you do, because IRS likes to change their minds. Some things are pretty standard. And so on those things, I'll be glad to go, yeah, this is what it is. Other than that, you may need to get someone else involved. Because I am not an accountant. I am just able to read and follow instructions. So they don't have any kids yet. And they were not born before 1958 and are not blind. So now let's get down to rows 1 through 15. This section is dealing with their income. So 1A deals with the amount on their Form W-2s from their Forms W-2 Box 1. So in other words, we're going to add together that $45,000 and the $26,000 that we did earlier and put it in Box 1A. We've already done this on their Schedule 1 or Schedule A. And so if you look back at that form, you should be able to see that total. And then B, all the way through I, they have not had. And so on line Z, we're going to add that line, so that 72,263.82 to nothing, so it's just 72,263.82. On the things that they listed of what they've done this year, they have not received any taxable interest or tax-exempt interest. They did not have any distributions from pensions, annuities, Social Security benefits. They have not had any capital gains or losses, and they had no other income. So line 9 says to add together from line 1Z down. And since there's nothing there, we put, besides that line 1Z, we write down what they had there, $72,263.82. Adjustments to income from your Schedule 1, which we will look at the schedules next. There are some additional adjustments that you can make there. And we do not have any. And so we're not going to have anything to subtract there. So line 11 is still that $72,263.82. So for Romeo and Juliet, we had earlier discussed whether they should itemize or take the standard deduction, which was their best benefit.
Standardized deduction.
Standardized deduction because it was greater value. So we're going to write down that 25,900 in line 12. Everybody notice, I keep forgetting I have this option. This box over here. That tells you your standard deductions. And so that's what gets written over here based upon your need. They do not have a business income deductions. And so line 14 is still just at 25,900. So we're going to subtract those two things. And it gives us 46,363.82. And so if you go back to that tax table, and I think I forgot to include it here. It's on the previous page. Has everybody found the tax table in your packet? Let's go to the 56,000 or 46,000. And we're going to go down until it says 46,350. Is theirs going to be the white background or the gray background?
The white.
Is it the gray because they're married filing jointly? So follow along from that 350 over till you hit that first gray, and they owe $5,154. So if you look on the back page, that's what gets written on line 16. So it's line 16, you get that information from filling out or looking at it in the chart or looking at it where you have to do the calculations if it's over 100,000. So if you're under 100,000, you can just find it on the chart. Over 100,000, you have to do a little bit more work. And then you're going to look at we're going to look and see any tax credits. Remember, tax credits lower our bill. So our bill is $5,154. Now let's see how we can lower our bill. The Schedule 2 has some ways we can lower our bill. And so we're going to go ahead and write this information in line 17. Or Schedule 2 is where we can add some more to it. Sorry, I forgot which one this was. And so you may have more taxes you owe on your Schedule 2. Then on line 18 is where we have our total bill. Line 19 says, do you have any child tax credits? If so, complete that form and write it here. And then Schedule 3 has other credits that can be taken. Line 8 is a total spot, and so you'd write that there. We'd add those two lines together. And then we subtract it from line 18. If it's negative, what do you write? 0. So in other words, we cannot end up with a negative number here. If you subtract it and you have less than what you put in, or less than your bill, excuse me, more than your bill, then you'll just write 0. And then we're going to take and add in your self-employment taxes. And then we get to, after your credits, now here's your official bill. So how did we fill up our piggy bank? What was in our piggy bank is what's written in 25A. How do I find out how much we put in our piggy bank? If you look in line 2 on your W-2, it tells you how much was in your piggy bank for both of them. So we'd add that together. So Romeo put in his piggy bank $3,423.56. Juliet put in her piggy bank $3,541.36. So altogether, they put $6,964.92. They did not have a 1099, which may have been another place that you could save out some taxes. Like if you're selling a stock or you're taking out a distribution, you can sometimes say, okay, withhold 10%, withhold whatever percent. And that way you don't have to worry about as big of a tax burden. So line D says we need to add all the 25s up so far. And so that's going to be $6,964.92. This number here is how much your piggy bank with the IRS says you have in it. Now, in 2022, whenever you did your, you may have made some estimated payments, or you may have applied some of it from your 2021 return. You can write that in 26. Now, earned income credit. You have to have a qualifying child. So in other words, if you have a kid, this is something you can look at. If you don't have a kid, you can't have an earned income credit. You can have some additional child tax credits. American Opportunity Credit is about college. Again, that reserved for future use just means that it can be something used in the future. And in Schedule 3, line 15 is going to be any other additional credits. So we're going to add these to how much you paid. So these are refundable credits. That means you can actually get more money paid back to you than how much you paid in that $6,964. Because they are all going to be considered a payment. And so we're going to add all that together, and for her purposes, or for their purposes, we have $6,964.92. So on the next line, they're going, okay, who's bigger? Line 33 or line 24? Your bill, which is line 24, or your payment, which is lines 33. Which one is bigger?
33.
33. So 33 is more, so we're going to subtract 33 minus 24. That's how much you overpaid. And so between the two of them, they overpaid by $1,810.92. And then they ask them, how much do you want refunded to you? How much of that do you want back? What do you think they want to say?
All of it.
All of it. You can apply it to your next year's taxes. And so whenever we do that, we can go down to the bottom and we'll mark that. And so we have the routing number. And if you look on our paperwork, we were given his routing number and his check account number. They wanted it deposited to. And so that's all we had to fill out. And then they would sign at the bottom. And both spouses need to sign in the order that the top is done. So if Romeo is listed first, then Romeo signs first. If Juliet's listed first, she signs first. Any questions?